Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack something that is absolutely fundamental to human existence, yet something we so often take for granted: literature. When you pick up a book, what are you actually doing? Are you just killing time, or is there a much more profound impact at play? Today we're going to explore the true power of the written word.
So what is the primary purpose of literature besides entertainment? It's incredibly common to just assume that we read purely for fun. We grab a novel for a beach trip or unwind with a short story right before bed. But if we stop there, we're completely missing the massive, hidden architecture of why stories exist in the first place. I want to challenge that assumption right out of the gate today.
To answer that, we've got to look at the formal definition. The functions of literature are the purposes or roles that literature performs in human life and society, moving far beyond just entertainment to educate, inspire, and preserve culture. Throughout this explainer, we're going to explore these roles through a really interesting structure of expanding influence. Think of it like dropping a pebble in a pond. We're going to start with the splash right at the center, the individual reader, and watch as those ripples move outward to encompass all of human society. Here is our roadmap for this journey. 1. Beyond mere entertainment. 2. Personal growth and emotion. 3. The mirror of society. 4. Preserving culture and history. 5. Inspiring social change. And finally, 6. We'll test your literary knowledge. Let's get started.
Section 1. Beyond mere entertainment, the core of the individual.
Now let's be completely clear here. Escaping reality is a perfectly valid and honestly vital function of literature. Reading a gripping mystery novel or settling in to watch a Shakespearean comedy gives us some much-needed relaxation. It lets us momentarily step away from the stress and the routine of our everyday lives. But here's the secret. That relaxation is just the gateway. It's the hook. Once literature has our attention through entertainment, it begins to do its deeper work.
Moving on to Section 2. Personal growth and emotion, cultivating the mind.
So while we start with entertainment and relaxation, there's a really vital progression here. Take the expression of human emotions. Literature creates this incredibly safe space for us to process love, grief, hope, fear, and anger. We end up forming these deep, profound emotional connections with fictional characters, which in turn actually helps us understand our own feelings. And as a result of all that, we develop our imagination and creativity. We learn to picture totally new worlds and possibilities, which actively inspires artists and thinkers to build upon those ideas in the real world.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how literature acts as an active moral compass, right versus wrong. Think about it. So much of our understanding of complex moral values like honesty, kindness, courage, and justice doesn't come from a textbook. It comes from stories. When we watch a protagonist struggle with a really difficult ethical choice, we're actively practicing our own moral decision-making. Literature basically helps us navigate the gray areas of life by playing out the extremes right there on the page.
Let's ground this abstract concept of education with a concrete example. George Orwell's Animal Farm teaches readers about politics and power. Now, this isn't just a story about farm animals overthrowing a farmer, right? It is a profound, foundational lesson in human nature, political corruption, and how societal structures actually work. By engaging with works like this, readers aren't just being entertained, they're vastly improving their critical thinking, deepening their language skills, and gaining absolutely essential knowledge about how the real world operates.
Section 3. The mirror of society, reflecting the collective.
Literature is often called the mirror of society, and man, it's such a powerful metaphor. A mirror doesn't filter, right? And it certainly doesn't flatter. It simply reflects exactly what is placed in front of it. Literature acts exactly the same way for our collective customs, traditions, and beliefs. When an author writes, even if it's in a totally made-up fantasy setting, they are holding a mirror right up to real-world societal structures and the problems of their specific time.
Because it acts as this mirror, literature basically becomes a time capsule. It meticulously records social changes. If you want to understand the extreme poverty and class divisions of Victorian England, you don't just read a data sheet, you read Charles Dickens. Books capture the absolute zeitgeist of a moment, helping future generations understand entirely different cultures and historical periods with a depth of empathy that raw facts simply cannot provide.
Which brings us to Section 4, Preserving Culture and History, Our Heritage.
There are 4 crucial elements that form the cultural heritage of any nation: language, traditions, values, and historical experiences. And literature acts as the ultimate preservation tool for every single one of them. Just think about how ancient epics kept the traditions of early civilizations alive way before digital storage even existed. Writers preserved the very syntax and vocabulary of their era, cementing the historical experiences of their people into this permanent record that survives wars, famines, and the passage of centuries.
Section 5. Inspiring Social Change, a Call to Action. By raising awareness about injustice, inequality, poverty, and discrimination, literature inspires positive change. So, the crucial point here is this. Literature is not just passive observation. It's not just a mirror sitting quietly on a wall. It is an active, driving force that fights for a better world. Throughout history, groundbreaking novels and essays have exposed societal rot and mobilized massive cultural shifts. Writers deliberately use their craft as a weapon against discrimination, forcing society to confront its darkest corners and inspiring the positive change we need to move forward.
All right, Section 6. Test your literary knowledge. Quick revision and quiz. Let's see what you've learned. Let's do a rapid-fire recap of these 8 functions to really cement your understanding. We've got entertainment, education, moral guidance, reflection of society, expression of emotions, developing imagination, preserving culture, and inspiring social change. Okay, let's put this into practice. Question 3. Name any 4 functions of literature. Can you name them right now? Think back to those expanding circles we discussed earlier. You might instantly jump to entertainment and education, but try to reach for the bigger ones. Did you think of preserving culture? How about inspiring social change? If you can easily name 4 off the top of your head, you're perfectly grasping the core architecture we've been building here. Moving to question 2. Why is literature called the mirror of society? I'll actually let you reflect on that metaphor for just a second. Well, it's called a mirror because it directly reflects our traditions, beliefs, and most importantly, our societal problems. It acts as this unbreakable historical record, allowing future generations to look back and truly see the customs and social changes of the past staring right back at them. And finally, question 1, bringing us all the way back to the hook of this entire explainer. What is the primary purpose of literature besides entertainment? The answer, as we've seen, is absolutely massive. It's to educate, to offer moral guidance, to act as a mirror, to preserve our fragile history, and to drive social change. Literature is literally the tool that helps us understand ourselves and the entire complex world around us. So the next time you open a book, ask yourself, what is this story quietly trying to teach me about the human race? Thank you so much for exploring these concepts with me today. Keep reading and keep questioning.